I sat alone in my dim living room on Christmas Eve, the silence broken only by the ticking clock that mocked my isolation. My husband had been gone for 2 years, taken by a sudden heart attack, leaving me a widow at 45 with no children to fill the void. But the real stab came when I realized my family. My brother, his wife, and their kids hadn't even bothered to invite me to their holiday gathering, despite knowing I had nowhere else to go. The betrayal burned deep, turning my grief into a quiet rage that whispered, "Enough." That Christmas Eve, I scrolled through social media on my phone, hoping for a message, a call, anything. Instead, I saw photos popping up from my brother's house, twinkling lights, a massive tree overloaded with ornaments, and everyone laughing around a table piled high with turkey and pies. His wife had posted them with captions like "Family Forever" and heart emojis. I wasn't in a single one. Not even a tag or a mention. It hit me like a freight train they hadn't forgotten. They'd chosen to exclude me. Again, I remembered how it started after my husband died. At first they were there, offering condolences and casseroles. But soon, whispers turned to outright snubs. My brother would say things like, "You're strong, you don't need us hovering." His wife was worse, always hinting that I was too independent or didn't fit the family vibe anymore. What vibe? The one where they spent lavishly on vacations while I scraped by on my late husband's modest life insurance. I'd given up my career as a teacher to care for him during his illness, and now I was paying for it with loneliness. Tears streamed down my face as I paced the kitchen, the cold tile biting into my bare feet. I grabbed a bottle of wine from the fridge, the cheap kind I'd bought for a holiday I knew wouldn't happen, and poured a glass with shaking hands. Why? I muttered to the empty room. What did I ever do to deserve this? Flashbacks flooded in. Childhood memories of my brother and me building snow forts, sharing secrets under blankets. He'd always been the golden child, charming and ambitious, while I was the quiet one who followed rules. Now, as adults, he'd built a successful real estate business, married into money, and treated me like an afterthought. By midnight, the wine had loosened something inside me. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. How dare they erase me from their lives? I thought about calling, confronting them, but what good would that do? They'd gaslight me, say I was overreacting, that the invitation must have gotten lost. No, I needed something bigger, something for myself. That's when the idea sparked. Earlier that year, my husband had left me a small inheritance I'd tucked away, untouched out of grief. It wasn't a fortune, but enough for a bold move. I'd always dreamed of owning a piece of land, a retreat where I could heal. Why not now? The next morning, Christmas Day, I woke with a hangover and a resolve. While the world unwrapped presents, I brewed coffee and opened my laptop. I searched for properties remote, affordable, symbolic. Hours later, I found it, a 50-acre plot on a mountain in the rural hills 2 hours from town. It wasn't a literal mountain, but the listing called it your private peak, with a cozy cabin, stunning views, and mineral rights that hinted at untapped value. The price, just within my reach if I liquidated some savings. "This is mine." I whispered, clicking contact agent. The realtor, a kind older man, met me virtually that afternoon. "It's a steal," he said. "Previous owner passed away, no heirs fighting over it. But it's isolated, sure you're up for that." I nodded firmly. Isolation is exactly what I need. We haggled a bit, and by evening I'd put in an offer. It felt reckless, empowering. For the first time since my husband's death, I wasn't waiting for approval or inclusion. I was claiming my space. But as the days blurred into the new year, doubt crept in. What if this was a mistake? The property had history, old mining claims from the 1008, hundreds, whispers of gold veins long forgotten. I dove into research, hiring a surveyor to check boundaries. He reported back, "Solid land, ma'am," and those mineral rights could be worth more than you think if developed. Excitement bubbled, mixed with nerves. I confided in no one, especially not my family. Let them think I was still wallowing. Weeks later, the deal closed. I drove up the winding road, snow crunching under tires, and stepped onto my mountain. The cabin was rustic, with a stone fireplace and windows framing endless pines. I lit a fire, wrapped in a blanket, and cried, not from sadness, but release. This was my fresh start. Little did I know, my family had been watching from afar, and their envy was about to ignite. Then, a text from my brother pinged, "Heard you're doing something big. Spill." My heart raced. How did he know? I ignored it, but the seed of suspicion planted. What if they weren't done excluding me? What if they wanted what was mine? Ignoring my brother's text felt like a small victory, but it gnawed at me. I threw myself into the mountain life, unpacking boxes in the cabin while the winter winds howled outside. The place needed work, leaky roof, outdated wiring, but each fix strengthened me. I hired locals, a handyman for repairs, a gardener to clear paths. "You're brave, coming up here alone," the handyman said, hammering nails. "Most widows sell off and move to the city." I smiled thinly. "I'm not most widows." Mornings, I'd hike the trails, breathing crisp air that cleared my mind. Afternoons, I'd pore over old maps from the property deeds, discovering the mineral rights weren't just fluff. A geologist I consulted via email confirmed potential for rare earth elements get a proper assay. I did, and the results stunned me. Traces of valuable ores that could fetch a premium if extracted sustainably. Suddenly, my impulse buy wasn't just a hideaway, it was an asset. I kept it quiet, but word spreads in small towns. My emotional shift was gradual. At first, vulnerability lingered. I'd stare at family photos, wondering why love turned conditional. But solitude bred strategy. I joined online forums for landowners, learning about property laws, security. Install cameras, one user advised, you never know. I ordered a full system, hidden cams covering entrances, motion sensors linked to my phone. For wildlife, I told the installer, but deep down, it was for protection. Then came the first twist. A month in, I got a call from an unknown number. "Is this the owner of the mountain plot?" A gruff voice asked. "Who's this?" I replied cautiously. "A developer, heard about your land, interested in buying." I declined politely, but he pressed. Family mentioned it might be for sale. Family. My pulse quickened. After hanging up, I texted my brother, "What have you been saying?" His reply, "Just looking out for you. That place is too much for one person." Rage simmered. He wasn't looking out, he was scouting. I dug deeper, calling the realtor who'd sold it to me. Any other inquiries? He hesitated. "Your brother called before you closed, asking if it was still available. Said it was for a client." Betrayal deepened. They'd known about the listing, perhaps even before me, but let me buy it. Why, to swoop in later. I hired a lawyer then, a sharp woman from the nearby county seat. "Protect yourself," she advised over coffee. "Update your will, add trusts, and document everything." We drafted papers making the land ironclad mine, with clauses against easy transfers. She also suggested a deputy friend for off. The record advice: rural properties attract opportunists. Stay vigilant. As spring thawed the snow, I transformed. Yoga on the deck built my confidence. Reading books on negotiation honed my mind. I even started a journal, chronicling my growth from tearful nights to purposeful days. But tension rose when his wife showed up unannounced one afternoon, her SUV crunching gravel. "Sissin-law," she called, stepping out with a fake smile. Arms open for a hug, I dodged. "We missed you at Christmas. Thought I'd visit." I invited her in coolly, serving tea. "What brings you here?" She glanced around, eyes lingering on the views. Just checking on you. My husband says this place has potential for our family. Maybe our son could use it for vacations. Our son, my nephew, whom they'd spoiled rotten. I played dumb. It's mine now. She leaned in. But you're alone. Wouldn't it be better shared? We could buy you out fair. Her tone dripped condescension, implying I couldn't handle it. I smiled sweetly. No thanks, I'm good. She left frustrated, but not before snapping photos for memories. That night, alerts pinged motion on the property edge. Cameras caught a figure scouting boundaries. Not my brother, but someone hired. Paranoia peaked, but so did my resolve. I called my lawyer. They're planning something. She agreed, gather evidence. Little did I know, their next move would force my hand, revealing a family secret that shattered everything I thought I knew. Summer heat baked the mountain as I fortified my haven. The cameras were my silent guardians, recording every rustle. I'd grown bolder, hosting a small gathering with new friends from town. Widows like me, sharing stories over bonfires. You've changed, one said, from fragile to fierce. I laughed, but inside I felt it, vulnerability yielding to vigilance. Then, the bombshell, my lawyer called. I dug into your family's background as requested. Your brother, he's in debt, bad investments in real estate. That successful business is smoke. She emailed documents, public records showing loans, liens on their home, and get this, your late husband's insurance. Part of it was meant for joint family trusts, but they diverted funds. My stomach dropped. Revelations poured. My brother had manipulated our parents' will years ago, shorting my share to boost his. That's why they'd excluded me to avoid guilt or claims. Anger-fueled strategy. I met the deputy, a no-nonsense man with a badge and a kind eye. Off duty, I can advise, he said at a diner. Install signs, no trespassing. If they cross, call me. I did, posting warnings everywhere. I also upgraded security drones for aerial views, a safe for documents. Dialogue with my family escalated via texts. My brother, we need to talk about the mountain. It's not right you hoard it. Me, hoard, I bought it fair. His wife chimed in a group chat. Think of the kids, they deserve legacy land. I fired back, like you thought of me at Christmas. Silence, then threats. Don't make this hard. The confrontation brewed. One evening, as I sipped tea on the porch, engines roared up the drive. 3 vehicles, my brother's truck, his wife's car, and a van marked Locksmith Services. They piled out him, her, their son, a smug teen, and a burly locksmith with tools. What is this? I demanded, stepping forward, phone recording discreetly. My brother smirked. Sis, we've decided. This land should be mine, family heirloom or something. Dad always said the mountain was for the boys. A lie. Our dad never owned it. His wife nodded. We're taking possession. Locksmith here to change locks. Then we'll discuss buy-out. Their son laughed. Auntie's alone. What can she do? Heart pounding. I feigned shock. You can't, it's mine. The locksmith hesitated. Ma'am, they said it's a family dispute. And my brother pushed. She's unstable, widowed and all. Just do it. They advanced, tools clinking. But I wasn't alone. As they reached the door, my phone buzzed. Cameras had alerted allies. Stop, I yelled. They laughed, thinking me bluffing. That's when the twist hit. Sirens wailed faintly, growing louder. The sirens blared as the deputy's cruiser crested the hill, lights flashing. My brother froze, tools dropping. What's this? He barked. The deputy stepped out, badge gleaming. Trespassing call. Ma'am here owns the property. I nodded calmly. They showed with a locksmith to steal it. Chaos erupted. His wife shrieked. She's lying. It's family land. Their son paled, backing away. The locksmith muttered apologies, packing up. My brother turned red. Sis, how could you, calling cops on blood? I met his eyes, voice steady. Blood that forgot me at Christmas, that schemed behind my back. Revelations unfolded. The deputy reviewed my footage. Cameras captured every word, every threat. This is attempted burglary, he declared. My lawyer arrived minutes later. documents in hand, and fraud, she added, presenting evidence of their debts, the manipulated will. You've been siphoning family assets for years. Dialogue sliced the air. My brother stammered. It was for the business. You didn't need it. His wife sobbed. We thought you'd share. Their son whispered, Dad, fix this. But no fix came. The deputy cuffed my brother for trespass and intent, reading rights. You'll face charges. His wife begged me, please drop it, for old times. I shook my head. Old times ended when you left me alone. In court weeks later, justice prevailed. My lawyer demolished them, evidence irrefutable. They settled, repaying diverted funds plus damages. The mountain stayed mine, now with a restraining order. Their business crumbled under scrutiny. They downsized, humbled. My transformation completed. I sold mineral rights sustainably, funding a foundation for widows. The cabin became a retreat for women like me, empowered, not isolated. I hiked daily, fearless, with new love blooming from a kind neighbor. As the sun set on my peak, I reflected, from vulnerable widow to unshakable owner. They'd thought me weak, I'd proven them wrong. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments.